morning.
Hi, good morning, Shirley.
That looks lovely and sunny there.
Oh, it's because I moved the angle because always in the dark, and you always look great, and I look like I've got bags under my eyes. So yes, the sun's there right now. We'll see how
Yeah.
works in half an hour.
Yeah. Well, it's lovely. So I just love the sun coming through the window. It's just gorgeous.
I know, especially when it's cold and icy,
Yeah.
like when you go skiing or something, when it's like really, really cold, but really, really sunny and blue skies. It's one of my favorite kind of days.
Yeah. Yeah. I took a photo this morning. I went outside. I've been very good. Get up, do my exercise. And I just opened the door to see, I just started to step out in the cold. And there was this glorious red sky. I mean,
Yeah, wasn't the sky
incredible.
amazing this morning?
Yeah. You were up too, obviously. Out with the
Yeah, but
or
I was in bed with a cup of tea, and I said to Chris, I wonder if that will take, a good picture. And he said, well, you'll have to get up and hang outside. And I said, I'm not doing that. It's cool.
Well, I did, but it's just my phone, which is not a super camera. So, it's taken a picture, but it doesn't do justice.
It doesn't do it justice, no.
No.
Oh, that's lovely that you saw that. Yeah, we can't really sleep later than, on a good day, 6:30. That's a good day, because my cat, Hopper Lily, who's the size of a very small house, jumps on the bed and she sits on Chris's chest and she purrs so loudly, but like unbelievably loudly, that you just can't sleep. Or she'll just come sit here and she'll just start taking bites in my hair, and you can push her off the bed 1,000 times, which I do. Sometimes she'll get it and she'll stay off, but in general she'll be back. She's a big girl and she wants breakfast, so you have to get up. I mean, I'll get up and go back to bed, if it's a weekend and stuff, but you actually have to get up, feed her and let her out.
Cats are incredible, aren't they? I mean, dogs can be trained to not do that, and they'll wait. They'll be hungry. They'll just look at you pathetically. But
but they might also just whine a little bit. I mean, Jesus and Simmons gets told to stay in their beds, but then Jesus is like for the next like half an hour. So, you just bite the bullet, you get up, and then you go back to bed, and then your morning starts. Yeah.
Wow.
They're quite good. Or we lie in bed for 20 minutes, the two of us. You go. No, you go. Go on. I did it yesterday. You go. We always, and we try to bribe each other. Like, I'll do it for the next 3 days if you just do it today.
So I'm guessing Chris did it and brought you a cup of tea?
No. So I knew he wouldn't, because I can tell he kind of, his eyes are like extra shut. I know he's not sleeping. He's
honestly.
His eyes are extra, and he's extra still. And I think he's sleeping. And I know he's not sleeping. And I just know that there's no point, because I'm going to get so wound up. So I thought, it's great. It's Friday. I'm not working. I've got a call with you. I'll make a cup of tea and I'll go back to bed, because generally it's a cup of tea and then it's up and meditate and it's much. I thought, no, I'll go back to bed because I've been feeling tired. So I let the dogs out, the cat out, fed the cat, made us both tea, took it up, got into bed all nice and snug, sunrise, and then realized I hadn't made the right tea for myself. I'd used his tea bag and not my tea, and I don't like his tea. So I tried to make peace with the fact, and then I thought, no, fuck this. It's like my first cup of tea of the day. I want it to be perfect.
Yeah.
So I went downstairs again and made another cup of tea and got back into bed. And then it was like an Instagram moment. Then it was all perfect and beautiful, dogs and cat and husband and cup of tea. But the behind the scenes wasn't so glamorous.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love my tea in bed. Yeah, and if I'm, if it's a weekend and I'm not working, I will have a second and third cup in bed. I like reading in bed. I'll be on my laptop in bed if I've sometimes got some things that I need to do. But bed is very comfortable and warm,
Yeah.
and especially this time of year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really warm, and I can easily work. Well, actually work from my bed for half the day, just sort of in and out all day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Wow.
love her. I love her.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
No, I don't do it. I mean, I do sometimes like to have a cup of tea in bed, and occasionally we'll do a Sunday that's, oh, let's just spend the day in bed with papers and things like that.
Nice.
But most of the time I'm kind of internally driven to get up. Either my back hurts, or I feel like, I know I want to exercise, or I want to meditate, or I just want to be up. I'm not good at hanging around in bed mostly.
No, and that's interesting. I'm very good at it. I'm very good at it. My husband says I'm a good eater. I'm a good sleeper. Very good at staying in bed. I think we've discussed it before, because I think you also really like reading, don't you? You're a big reader. Yes, I'm a big reader, and reading in bed before I fall asleep is a given.
Oh yeah.
Reading in the morning. I used to wake up earlier before work so I could read in the morning before work, and maybe now not so much. But if it's a weekend, that cup of tea and back to bed to read. Oh my God, I love her. I love her. I'm the opposite of you. I would rather be awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't sleep late. I never sleep late. I'm an early bird, but I'd rather be awake with my cup of tea and a book in bed than be anywhere else in the morning.
But that kind of makes sense. Because you've got you've got pets, you've got dogs, you've got cats, you've got goats. There's a lot of things that if you get out of bed are demanding of you. Whereas for me, I get out of bed. It's for me. It's quiet. There's nothing that's demanding of me.
Oh my God, is it just you and what you want in the morning?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I can only dream of
Well, you could euthanize, but I don't think that would be a good thing.
And maybe you've got children, right?
Yeah, but they're all grown.
No, but I'm just thinking, so you are really, whether you consciously think it or not, appreciating this time, because you've had years of your mornings, not yours, for like 20 years or something.
Yeah, yeah, I do love, and it reminds me of my mum, bless her, who, as you know, died last year.
No, I didn't know.
Oh, didn't you? Oh, well, yeah. So she spent a lot of her life, because of all the stuff she had to do, because, she had to do everything. But she would, in order to try and fit it all in, she would get up at 5 every morning, which I can't do. But I do understand how that gave her just a tiny pocket of time to sit with her cup of tea on her own by the fire. None of us.
No children.
Yeah, nobody wanting anything, not making anybody breakfast, cups of teas, errands, nothing. And now I get that, only I don't have to get up at 5 to do it.
That's interesting. I'm so glad we speaking about this, because I never considered it, that maybe my morning would be different if I just woke up and there were no demands. I don't even want to go. I mean, I go, and I let the chickens out because the sun's up. So I go out, let the chickens out, say good morning, and then I'm trying to creep around in case the goats see me, because if the goats see me and they decide they're hungry, then it's bah, 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 for the next like 4 fucking hours. So yeah, I can't get away with shit. I move and everybody just runs towards me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, because the type of person I am, I very consciously have never wanted children. And for that reason. I don't want demands on my time, and it's the same reason I prefer cats to dogs. Dogs are needy. You've seen how needy these two are. My cat, apart from, every cat's like that in the morning, apart from the waking up thing, the cat just does what she wants to all day, and I barely see her. And I've always had cats. So, and before I met Chris, I was living in a shared house with Carol, and I had my room. I mean, before that I was in a flat on my own, but for the last 3 years before I met him, I was in a room. And then suddenly I moved here, and I'm a wife. I'm in a house, not a room. I've got like 2 acres in total. You know, Carol had a garden that big. Dogs are so needy. I mean, my cat adapted beautifully, but the dogs are needy, the goats are needy, the alpacas are needy, the chickens are.
Oh, you've got alpacas as well. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, 2 alpacas, George and Mildred. They're both boys, both male.
Oh wow. So,
but at least they don't sort of bleat for food. They don't make a noise. But the goats, if they are hungry, will go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And the dogs, if they're hungry or want something, will go on and on and on. Gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah, because you just get used to your life and you just think that's how everybody's is, but you forget there's variations.
Yeah.
And that's why I like my mornings getting up earlier. Chris knows he's not allowed to come downstairs. He says, I can't even move in my own house. Because that's just another demand on my time. I mean, the dogs follow me. There's nothing I can do about that. But at least I can tell them to go to their basket and I can sit quietly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that, you know, that's another pleasure you probably get from the pottery when you're there, because it's just you and the clay.
It's wonderful.
And the space. So yeah, you know, I mean, it's vital.
Yeah, and I can feel it when we go on holiday. I mean, the dogs will go to Cindy, the dog lady, so she has them, and they have a lovely time because they're in her house with her. Somebody comes to stay here and looks after the animals, and when we're on holiday, it's just me and Chris. And that's it. We never argue about he usually wakes up every morning in the holiday and will make me tea, and I just feel so free because there's no demands, there's nobody needing something. And that's what mums must feel like.
Yeah.
That's the exact reason I didn't want children, and now I've got like 13 mouths to feed.
I know. Yeah, you've got children times 13.
A lot.
Yeah, you have.
Lots of fur babies and feather babies and
yeah. So I did keep my notes from the other day.
Did you?
You know, it's only a couple of days, but what's going on? What thoughts have you had? You know,
I hadn't really thought more about traits and values and stuff, but something that has come up, which is worth mentioning. When I spoke to you on Tuesday, I was quite tired. I remember saying I felt quite tired and a bit teary. But that the 7 was still a 7.
Yeah.
But you know, honouring the other feelings. And I worked on Wednesday and Thursday at the garden centre, and my job for the last few weeks has been carrying and sanding these 6-foot stands and painting them. So I did that for 2 days. I'm quite happy doing it. I like physical work, and I like using my hands, and I was inside, so I wasn't cold because it's been really cold, you know, otherwise I would have been outside for 8 hours. But I just realized, I think it started on Wednesday. I thought, you know what, I'm tired. And Wednesday was our anniversary, 3 years.
Oh, congratulations.
And thank you. And Chris said, oh, he's going to make us dinner and stuff. And on the way home in the car, I thought, I'm just really going to not do much tonight other than just enjoy the dinner and flop on the sofa and enjoy the fire and enjoy each other's company. And if we go to bed early, that's fine. But I was tired, and I was just sort of bordering on consciously honoring my energy levels. And it felt quite good to do that, because as a woman, I suppose a lot of us do that. You push through and you still do all the things that need to be done, and you feel guilty for not, or you know, you constantly forcing or pushing through. And of course those words came up because I was thinking about the surrender and acceptance thing and not pushing anymore. And then yesterday I woke up and I hadn't slept. Oh, this is a funny story. I hadn't slept well. I said to Chris, I said, oh my God, I said, menopause, just the heat hit me sideways last night. I said, I was so hot, even though it was like the coldest night in history. And I had to take all my clothes off and whatever. He said, you arsehole. He said, you left the heating on. That's why you were hot. I'm like, hello, why didn't you get up and switch it off? He said, oh no, I couldn't be asked. So, because I woke up thinking, oh my Lord, maybe this is what they're talking about, you know. So it did mean I was a bit tired because I hadn't slept well because I was very hot the night before. And yesterday I thought, okay, I've got another day of painting, and I thought I'm just going to make it work for me and slow down. And usually I work very fast, and part of the working fast and steadily is, it's kind of a good and a bad thing. Like I just get into it and I want to get it over and done with, but I'm probably not always really present either. It's more kind of, I don't want to say frantic, but it's more like an energetic, just keep going, push, keep going. And I can't remember what I was saying. Anyway, I didn't want to do that. And I thought of ways that I can work yesterday. And for instance, I got a chair and I sat down for some parts of the work instead of standing. I went and got a kneeling cushion for my knees because I'm on my haunches a lot, especially at the bottom. And you don't want to tear the plastic that you're working on, so you can't drag your feet. So I'm really on my haunches and my tiptoes around the bottom of the stand. And you know, I'm pretty flexible when it comes to that, but you know, it can hurt your body and it can be uncomfortable after like 8 hours of doing it. So I just did all these things to make it easier on myself, and I worked slower consciously. I took more breaks.
Nice.
And I realized it's not really anybody else. Nobody else has really said to me, Rose, you've got to work faster. Everyone thinks I'm doing a grand job with the stands, but it's my internal voice, which I wasn't even aware of really till yesterday, that is like, come, perform. And I think that perform, if you really dig down deep, is I want everybody to like me and to think I'm doing a good job. And I have to do a good job, because if I don't do a good job, they'll be disappointed in me, which is my dad, without a doubt. What will that say about me? I've got to do a good job, and I wouldn't want them to think any less of me if I didn't do a good job. Surely we're talking painting, fucking hanging, you know, hanging.
No, I know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it's just interesting, boys, bed. It's just interesting how I'm grateful, I suppose, that I'm seeing things, I'm connecting the dots, maybe. I've seen these things, I've known these things. This isn't new to me, but I'm seeing it, and that the constantly push is maybe just so that somebody doesn't criticize me, that somebody's not disappointed in me.
Yeah.
It's my own internal.
I think that's great that you particularly joined those dots, because what was interesting, if you remember on Tuesday when I briefly mentioned, you know, you're calling it internal voice, inner critic, and I said that, you know, and then we went straight into positive attributes, and yet I'm kind of glad, because I think there's a reason I put these two things together, and you've just demonstrated the connection, and you've joined those dots and go, oh, there it is, the internal voice. What would be nice, I think, if I think back to the things, do you remember there were key things? It was the fairness, openness, and independence that I said you'd been a bit generic about without owning them as
yeah,
you.
Autonomy, open, fairness, independent. Yeah,
that's it. But I'm thinking about you telling me that. If you think about fairness, think about, you know, your attribute, I am fair. Using that for yourself. So this is your attribute that you apply to yourself for yourself.
yeah, I've never really thought of my attribute that I apply to myself.
Nobody does.
Yeah. Yeah, because I suppose we are grown with this external validation thing happening the whole time.
Yeah. And that's what we want to be moving towards, is internal validation.
Do you know some and it's along the same lines, but something really interesting that I've become so aware of in recent years, and especially since I live here, because I drive, you know, I live in the countryside, I have to drive. In London, I never did. I mean, I can drive. I've driven since I was 12. But I had my motorbike in London. I never had to drive a car that much. Here, and it still happens, it probably even happened last week, sometimes I'll be driving and I don't drive particularly fast on the country roads because I like the countryside and I like to look. I actually really like speed, but you know, here it's pretty and I want to enjoy it. And then sometimes I'll see there's a car behind me and it will be subconscious or I'm consciously getting to it. Now it will be this thing, well, better hurry in case he's annoyed with me or he toots at me. God forbid. My life will end if the wanker behind me toots his horn. What is that about? I mean, and I realize how stupid that sounds when you verbalize it in that way, but it's obviously got deeper stuff attached to it. And the driving is a really good example. I mean, there have been times that I've made a wrong move or whatever over the years, and somebody has gone, oh, you there, or, you know, the finger, just like Chris would do to somebody, and I hate it when he does it. And it's interesting that can make me feel maybe all those things in myself, disappointed in myself and unkind to myself.
Yeah.
And all it is an arsehole having a bad day, because anybody who reacts, and I see it with Chris because he's terrible on the road, but that's because he's got anger issues. So it's not usually the other person. It's usually, you know, his reaction is always disproportionate.
Yeah.
So I know that that's what's happening to me if it does happen.
Yeah.
But I'll have this conscious thing of like, oh, I better go faster because this person's behind me, or, you know, they'll have to overtake, or they'll shout or show me the finger, and that's got to come back down to want to be liked, don't want to disappoint. Yeah. But the fact that still happens now, you know, I'm 52 years old, and I will consciously verbalize it now when I'm driving. I'll laugh because I know it's happening and I recognize it, which I'm very grateful for. I think this is the last year is the first year I've really, really recognized it and seen it for what it is. So I will verbalize, I will articulate it to take the sting out of it, and then just carry on and not change what I'm doing. But that fear almost comes up with this wave, and then I catch it and I know, and then it goes, and nothing else has changed. I mean, he can pass me if he wants to or not.
I think it comes back to your surrender and acceptance thing, which can happen, and the flick of a coin, but you can't kind of, well, you can make it happen, but you know, you can't explain to someone how they make it happen. But it's interesting because I don't know if this helps at all, but I'll tell you anyway. You know, I used to be a real road rage kind of a driver. I would get wound up at everything, and eventually, this is going back decades.
I can't imagine you like that. I'm the opposite.
And I can't remember why, but at some point I just thought, oh, let it go. Like what? And it might have been, I don't know whether it was this or not, but it might have been because I had an uncomfortable experience with someone who was clearly threatened by a female driver driving a nice red BMW, and she was clearly under 30. Like what right did she have to do that?
Yeah.
And maybe it was that, it doesn't really matter, but I just in an instant went, oh, I'm letting go of all that. I'm not going to do that anymore. And it's delicious to let go of that. It's like just kind of smile and go, oh, look at those people, they're getting really wound up.
That's how I feel about my surrendering in the other areas. Do you think yours was then just sort of unresolved angst and anger and other things just projected onto
yeah, I think it's that
when you were driving?
Yeah, it's all kinds of things, isn't it? It's control. It's like you feel like you want to control everything and you can't, and everybody else's fault, you know, because it all comes from the external stuff.
It's interesting because I mean, you know, that's the opposite of what I have. Chris is like that, and I look at him and I say it out loud. I said, dude, you're going to give yourself a heart attack. Like, whoa, like, okay, that was a shitty thing they did, but your reaction is so big.
Exactly. Yeah.
And my best girlfriend's the same. She will get so cross and shout.
Yeah.
And for me, well, I suppose because I was always the opposite. For me, I just didn't see the point. So it's the same thing. It's just opposite sides.
It is. Yeah. What I do now, I don't know if this is remotely helpful either, but I kind of enjoy playing what I call the old lady game. Because I drive this little car anyway, and you know, I clearly am much older now, but I've been doing this for years, and you know, I know people are kind of swerving around or doing I can tell, like, which they're up my bumper, and I automatically go, whoa, and I slow everything. I'll slow the car and everything. Nice. Or if I do something stupid at a roundabout, I kind of laugh to myself and almost to them. I go, old lady driver.
I love it.
Because it's kind of permissive, because people have this prejudice that they expect old women to do stupid things. And I, old lady driver, just takes it away. I don't care anymore.
Doesn't quite work with you though, because you're not an old lady. Nobody's going to look at you and think old lady at all. Maybe mature lady, but no one's going to think old lady at all. But I get what you mean, and I like the fact that you slow down even more, because that has been something when I'm having these thoughts and this person's behind me or whatever. I think just chill. And I probably do even slow down. A little bit more.
I mean, I'll even, if they're really bad, I will pull over and just let them.
Oh yeah, especially around you don't want them for the next 2 miles on a winding road up your ass. It's interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting, but let me just reflect in case you've forgotten, because I know we've got the recording anyway, but so the attributes that we talked about before, I just want to check whether any new ones have popped in. Sense of adventure, humour, the ability to get people to feel comfortable in your company, compassionate, kind, organised, fair, open, independent, autonomous.
I can't actually off the top of my head think of others, and I haven't thought of it since we discussed it on Tuesday. You know, it's working its magic at the back. But I did I just wrote a big I am in my diary, and I suppose I have a couple of times. Let me just check the last couple of days. Maybe I have. Oh, okay. So I started writing. I just said I am blessed. I am, because all the ams are capitals. I am open. I am independent. I am autonomous, and I have a voice. And I think they kind of, they all linked into that thing of having a voice. And having a voice is something I'm still working on. I don't feel I have a true voice. I hold myself back.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And that came to the fore last year, really, when the Black Lives Matter thing kicked off. I grew up in South Africa, grew up under apartheid, and
wow.
And I always knew it was wrong. You grow up with it, but also I speak before about nature and nurture. My nature is just one of fairness from the minute I was born, and I don't get how we could not be fair. And my best girlfriend here in the UK is black, from Derby. I have black friends, so it's just nothing's ever been an issue for me. And then Black Lives Matter popped up last year, and I think it's a combination with the internet and trolling and stuff. You put one thing on, and if you can't defend it and be witty and articulate and clever, the trolls will, or not even the trolls, just other articulate, clever people will take you down. And I've always known I don't use my voice, and I feel bad about not using my voice, and I want to use my voice. But last year really did shine a light on it, and me and Carol have had some really open discussions about taking action, and speaking up. So it's really come to the fore. And even with Trump last year, you don't want to offend anybody, so you're quiet, and you suck up all the homophobic, racist, genderist, sexist, all the ists that there are. Anyway, so going back to the open kind, blah, whatever, was really about I have a voice, and maybe those things will become more apparent once I have more of a voice, or maybe I work on those things and they automatically kind of evolve into having more of a voice.
And I bet, I can ask you to just think about it for a moment. I bet there are instances where you have had a voice and you've used it, and it may be a very, very long time ago, but think back. Can you think of situations or circumstances at any time in your life where you have actually spoken up about something?
Yes, I can't off the top of my head now, just because brain doesn't work that way in menopause. But I know, no, I have. Obviously, I have. When I say, and that's another language, isn't it? I'm saying I don't have a voice is not necessarily true. I do, and I have used it in the past. I maybe just would like to use it more, especially as I'm getting older and I've become more aware of gender, sexuality, feminism, the patriarchy, all that stuff that really has just jumped out at me in the last sort of 3-4 years. I have spoken up before, and I remember being young in South Africa and questioning my mom and dad about things. I grew up with there were signs, whites only signs, and you'd go to, call them bottle stores, and there'd be an entrance for black people and an entrance for white people, and there would be benches that say, whites only. So
incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's so archaic, and it's actually not that, I was that was 30 years ago. It's not that long ago. Maybe I spoke up more when I was younger, and then I kind of lost my voice a bit. I wonder if that's true. Not lost it. I didn't lose it. It's not gone completely.
No, but just, yeah. I mean, the only reason I say that is because, finding my voice was something that I felt very strongly. And I think with some things, like things that are really important to you in life, in the world, it's like the big stuff. Ordinarily I would say, okay, well, how would you measure? What's more? But there are some things where there will never be enough. Like, then you never could speak up enough, because that would mean that everything in the world was sorted. And that's not going to happen. So there is an element of accepting that it will always need to be more, but also coming to terms with you feeling like you're expressing yourself and being heard as often as you want to be. And I think that's where you're
yeah, you're right. I think that's it. I have felt uncomfortable at times when I wish I had said something. I also know, obviously, you choose your battles. If somebody, who I don't know particularly well at work, makes a remark, there's times where you say things and times where you just let it go, because either you don't have the energy, or that person, you just know, so far gone in their thinking, whatever you say is really not going to make a dent, and maybe your little flyaway remark, isn't going to be the thing that changes. So it is choosing your battles as well, I think, because otherwise we'd be fighting all the time. I think, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Right. So much we could do, but I think it's a good opportunity for you to go and sit with that cushion over there. And I don't know whether the dogs are going to join you or not.
God, they probably will. They'll hear Mommy. Oh, Lily, good morning. Her ladyship ate at 6:30, 6:45 this morning, and then went back out, and then went back to bed, because she only slept 18 hours yesterday.
What did you say? 18 hours?
She's a cat. She sleeps all day. That's all she does is sleep. She sleeps. She likes summer. She likes being out in the summer, but in winter, she takes after her mother. She likes being in bed.
Right, let me turn off my video. There you go. Okay, so as you feel nice and comfortable and you've got the sun on your face, you can just take some moments now to appreciate and feel the loveliness of that light that you can experience even when your eyes are closed, experiencing it differently, perhaps aware of the colours that come through your eyelids as the light dances, and just luxuriating in the warmth of the light and the blanket and the cushion at your back, and just feel yourself wrapped in the comfort of the seat, free, no demands, just allowing yourself to be. Even though the dogs bark and they may or may not appear, you can allow yourself to feel comfortable with whatever they're doing. Noise is just noise. External events just occurring, and as they always do and always will. There may be external sounds in your environment of the dogs barking or something else, or external sounds in my environment. But you're still free. You don't have to respond to the demands. You can allow yourself to be present A gift you give to yourself, this presence, a break, a slowing down, and allowing your internal voice to just filter or just gently float there. That internal voice gradually thinking less, maybe contemplating something or nothing, perhaps being aware of a good job you've done or not, connecting dots, not really deciding what the dots are, just loosely connecting, honoring feelings and energy levels, moving with them like a gentle wave, allowing the physicality of your being to simply move without moving, internally allowing processes to come into symbiotic relationship, ease, flowing, communication, your mind and your body settling down. No matter what, your mind and your body settling down. And the dogs will settle down too eventually. But it really doesn't matter. You can just allow yourself to be present, to connect whatever dots you choose, to allow yourself to hear your thoughts, not anybody else's thoughts, but your thoughts, recognizing the distinction between an internal voice that somehow comes from somewhere else, an echo, but knowing it's an echo, and then settling back down into your own voice and reminding yourself of your special qualities, your sense of adventure, your sense of humor, your compassion, your kindness, your organization, your autonomy, your fairness, your openness, your independence, your ability to make people feel comfortable in your space. You are humorous, autonomous, adventurous, fair, open, independent, comfortable with yourself and with others, compassionate, kind, organized. And as I remind you of those special qualities that are yours, it might be that your mind brings to mind fresh examples, memories, moments, experiences that express each and every one of those qualities or alights on one or two, like a butterfly flitting from one flower to another and then settling. I wonder which quality, or if it's all that you allow yourself to notice that your mind brings to mind examples of your sense of adventure. You are adventurous. Of your sense of humor, you are funny. Of your sense of autonomy, you are autonomous. Of your sense of openness, you are open. Of your sense of independence, you are independent. Of your gift at being comfortable with others and making them comfortable with you, easy. you are comfortable with yourself. Compassionate, you are compassionate. Kind, you are kind. Organized, you are organized. And your mind, not the echo of other voices that seem internal but are simply external echoes. Your voice hears each of those qualities and dives deeper into feeling. And your mind presents you with examples. Maybe many examples of one particular quality, or many examples of all those qualities. But imagine this. Imagine you have a friend who has each of these qualities in abundance. A friend who is funny and adventurous, autonomous and fair, open and independent, comfortable to be with, compassionate, kind, organized. Imagine that friend is in your space right now and in every moment, always there with you, hand in hand. And imagine what it's like to be with such a friend and to experience their adventurousness, to delight in their humor, to admire their autonomy, to experience their sense of fairness and openness, to be empowered by their independence, to feel at ease in their company, to feel seen and heard by their compassion, to experience their kindness, and to delight in their organization. And then you realize, although you already know, that you have just such a friend. You are that friend. And so maybe when you think in the present moment, the present is the gift you give to yourself of yourself. Imagine giving yourself the gift of adventure, of humor, of autonomy, of fairness, openness, independence, ease, compassion, kindness, organization. I wonder how many situations and moments and times and places you discover different ways that you can express those qualities more fully, more deeply. Delight in discovering the depth and the breadth of each of those qualities, one by one or together, diving deep. First, perhaps, into fairness, allowing yourself to apply those qualities to yourself. How could you be more of yourself by being more fair to yourself? With yourself, being more open with yourself, to yourself, for yourself, more independent, more adventurous, compassionate, kind. You own all of these qualities, not as separate qualities that you hang like coats on a hook on a door, but qualities that are the very essence of you, that live and breathe within your cells and your atoms and in your DNA. They live within you, and the spark of them is the attention you give to them. And maybe when you think about how fair you are, you begin with yourself. That old cliche of charity begins at home, or placing the oxygen mask on your face before anybody else, is so cliched it loses its meaning. And yet, here, maybe when you think about your fairness or your compassion or your adventurousness or your humor, autonomy, openness, independence, ease, kindness, organization. Maybe when you think of all or one in any moment and every moment, you find more and more ways, the how, to express those qualities in yourself and for yourself. Being fair in your judgment of what you do and how you do it. Being open and sharing what feels right and what doesn't. Being comfortable with whatever you're feeling at any moment, whatever you feel expressing. Being compassionate for the times when things go a little awry. Being kind, easing up on yourself. And sometimes being organized and celebrating that organization and allowing that adventurousness to feed into pockets of your life or every moment of your life. You decide the proportions, the scale, the volume. But maybe the volume is something you want to turn up. As you turn up the volume of these special qualities that make you the friend you would choose, the friend you are, a friend to yourself. You turn up the volume of those qualities and your voice becomes clearer, louder. No longer holding yourself back, but turning up the volume of the qualities that you own in your DNA. And turning up the volume of that decreases the sound of the echo of the external voices that were never yours, are not yours, will never be yours. Expanding your qualities, the gift you give to yourself of you. Taking action based on turning up the volume of your qualities, discovering how many different colors and nuances and shades of those qualities you can find expressed as your voice becomes stronger, more powerful, turning up the volume, increasing the color, perhaps imagining yourself there on the potter's wheel and shaping, but also feeling where the clay takes you. So it's a journey together where you take the clay, where the clay takes you, you choosing how to mold yourself in your own image, only more beautiful. On so many levels, each and every day and every moment, turning up the volume, the gift you give to yourself of yourself, the present, in the present moment. A good job you do in expressing yourself, being humorous, adventurous, autonomous, fair, open, independent, comfortable and easy, compassionate, kind and organized. Take a break from the echoes. Work at your pace, sometimes slower, sometimes quick, allowing yourself to just keep going at your pace, sometimes quick, sometimes slow. No pushing, just easing, allowing yourself to have a voice, to use your voice, to be your voice. Feeling connected with the voice and the actions, speaking loud enough that you drown out the echoes. So they are just small sounds. And you are free to choose to be in full flow with your special qualities, your sense of adventure, your humor and autonomy, your fairness and openness, your independence, your ease and comfort with yourself and others, your compassion, your kindness, your organization. And as I remind you for the last time, I wonder, Whether you have noticed all of those qualities, or whether your mind at ease, in flow with your body, has presented many examples of one quality, or just one deep dive into a single quality, or a little smattering of all. It really doesn't matter. But what does matter is you. You are the friend and the gift, the present that you give to yourself in this present moment. And as you ease into the flow of this connection between mind and body, you gently move through each and every day with a quiet how running there in the background. How can I be more fair to myself? How can I be more open? How can I express my independence and autonomy? How can I express my humor and compassion? How can I express my kindness and organization and sense of adventure for myself, to myself, to become more of myself? So wherever your mind has traveled, or even if it has traveled nowhere at all, whether you focused on the sounds in the room or the feeling of the dogs moving, or whether you've listened to my voice or simply the sound of your thoughts and your body, it really doesn't matter. All that matters is you. So you take a few moments now to allow your thoughts and your mind and your body to just assemble into a gentle flow, an ease that you continue to carry with you through the day. And when you're ready, slowly appreciate the light coming through the window once again, and the color, and open your eyes.
Oh, the sun was so lovely.
Yeah, it's a nice spot to sit and meditate.
Oh, and it warmed up. That was great. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's lovely. I could listen to your voice all day.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Thank you. Very calming. And I do tend to listen. I know I can drift out and it doesn't matter, but it's the same when I go for a massage. I enjoy it so much. I don't want to miss out on anything. So I do listen to the words, but I must kind of zone in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes it just feels like clearer, or you can feel you've kind of come back from somewhere. It's really lovely. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
I do enjoy them. I really love them. I think hypnotherapy should just be about that always.
Oh, I know. And I mean, it's some people just love it anyway. It doesn't matter. The guy that trained me used to say you could read them the telephone directory and they'd be fine.
True, maybe, but it's really nice when it's it's so much more when it's relevant.
Yeah. Did you find, I mean, I know because obviously you had the dogs fidgeting on you, but did you find it your mind kind of went to specific places, or was it just kind of sticking with the words?
No, sticking with the words. The word open came back quite a few times. Actually, we write that down. Came back a few times, and I did think that that's kind of connected to the surrender and acceptance. How can I be more open, you know, within my life, within myself, towards myself? And it felt like just the word opening as well as an encompassing and a yeah, which felt similar to surrendering to what is, the opposite of forcing and pushing. Yeah.
Good. Wow, that's it. Weekend begins. Have you got any work to do today with clients? Or
Thank you. I've got no clients today. Yay. I've got a new talk in about a week and a half, which I was going to work on, but I'm tired this week for whatever reason, and I'm going to give in. I'm going to treat today like it was the weekend.
Good.
And I'm going to have a 3-day weekend because I'm not working this weekend, which is great.
Nice.
So chill, Netflix, read, cups of tea, meditate. I think I'm actually going to sit here and colour in for a little bit in the book, in the journal that you gave me. I'm really just going to, I'm going to have a me day.
That sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. It is nice. And, you know, they're hard because generally we have them, or we think we shouldn't, or we feel so guilty about them. I don't think I've got a cold, but my energy this week is completely, there's something going on in my body. Chris says maybe just because I've been at work and I've got, you know, I worked on the weekend, it was very cold, and I worked Wednesday and Thursday at the garden centre. And although I was indoors, I was outdoors for a bit. So he thinks it's the cold, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I've been tired this week and I'm not normally tired. So maybe there's something.
And it is very cold. Maybe we're not used to the cold. The cold makes you, I think it kind of makes you a bit tired. Yeah, I don't know why. And I try to remember we don't have to know why. But if I can honour it, I can. And I'm going to have a 3-day weekend, I decided this morning.
Lovely. Well, you enjoy
starting now, and what a lovely way to start with you. So thank you.
No, you're welcome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Always have
no client calls. Woo! Have you got work? Have you got client calls?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I like you, a lot of it is work of my creation. Like I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But
and you'll book constantly, obviously.
I do have a couple of calls that people have booked in this afternoon. So
okay.
Well,
I hope they go well, and I hope they, as soon as they finish, your weekend starts. And,
thank you.
Unwind. Thanks, Shirley.
You're welcome.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah, look forward to it. Take care, Rose.
All right. Me too, very much so. Thank you. Bye.